Hey, Carly. Can you hear me?
I can. How are you?
I'm excellent. How you doing?
Good. Are you hanging out in your car? Lucky you.
Yeah, no. Literally, I just got back. So,
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I need to adjust for summertime driving patterns. So how you doing? How was your weekend?
It was good. It was good. We were actually up in Maine, in Portland on Saturday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my son had a sailing race up there, so we made a day out of it.
Nice.
Yeah, it was fun.
All right. And how long is that drive to Portland, Maine?
3-ish hours.
Wow.
Yeah, we were out the door at 6 a.m. It's no sleeping in happening.
Absolutely. Well, did he win?
No, I got last place.
Okay.
But it's good experience. Good experience.
Sometimes you just got to enjoy the moment.
Exactly. We'll take it. We'll take
Yep.
it. I don't see our chairperson yet.
I don't see anybody else yet.
There's a
Oh
whole.
no, I see Nikki. I see Diana. All right. I feel like what's that lady, Miss Sally on Romper Room? I see Carly and Nikki and Diana and Sarah and Tara and Diane, Santa, Mary Ann, and Leanne.
I love it.
I see Ed Clark and Tara McAuliffe and Rose. Okay. All right.
This could be a new career for you.
Hey, you know what? All right, we've got a ton of folks.
This is also the same time as the family night for next year's sixth graders, which I should be at. So I hope this is quick.
We will make it as quick as possible. Diana, do you see Marge?
Yeah, I'm right here. But the person running late is Vic because he went to this school. Because
Okay.
he thought this was in person, so he's on his way home.
Okay.
So we'll give him a few minutes.
Karen, are you talking to your dog? And can we see the dog? Hey. See, hi. Hey, trust me. You know what? Anytime you see Brody, you know it's a dog's life.
So you're not back in Rhode Island yet, Jonathan?
I am back in Rhode Island. My apartment is a little unkempt, and so I prefer to sit in my truck and have this conversation.
Fair enough. You mean you haven't cleaned it lately, Jonathan?
I didn't say that. I would not say that. Just a little disorganized.
Well, my house is always like that. So what's the... Where's Mary Ann?
She's with Diane and Leanne.
Oh, I see
Vic
her.
is here.
Victor's here. Hey, Vic. You in the right place now? You're muted, Vic. I like you that way.
Yes, I am. Sorry.
All right, let's all stand and Say the Pledge of Allegiance and we'll get this meeting started. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
And one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everybody. I hope everybody had a great weekend. It certainly was good weather, except for some interesting storms. All right, on our agenda tonight is summer school. So I separated it out because we could discuss it at each level. So the first item on the agenda is using ESSER 2 funds for summer school enrichment at the elementary level. And I'll turn to Dr. Santa or Dr. Bryce, whoever wants to pick that up.
Dr. Santa?
Sure. So we have before you this evening the proposal for the elementary summer program. And just to recap, it is a program that focuses on both academics and enrichment, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, as well as the arts. And our proposal is that it would be a half day, 2 hours of academics and 2 hours of enrichment. And I believe the elementary principals are on the call if there are specific questions.
All right, thanks, Dr. Santa. So I need a motion to approve this program so that we can have a discussion. I need a motion and a second.
So moved.
I need a second.
Second.
All right, discussion. Does anybody have anything to discuss about this summer school program for children?
I just have one quick clarification I just need.
Sure, go ahead.
So the program is for 25 students per class. And it sounds like there's going to be, they can take 2 weeks, Under the Sea and Cosmos. And the grades are 1 through 3 and 4 and 5 are all together. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so kids that are in grades 1, first grade, second grade, and third grade are in one class, and
Correct.
fourth and fifth are in another. Now, how is that going to work when you're trying to divide up like the math? Like if kids are behind in math, first grade and third grade are totally different. So how does that work?
Well, I'm happy to have one of the principals address that further, but it's all about having small group work. So I'm understanding the needs of the students that are participating. And then we have math intervention lessons from our program that outline a week worth of lessons related to a particular skill or concept.
And how many teachers? I thought there was one teacher and one like helper in there. Is that not the case?
Tara or Beth or Deb, would you like to take that question?
I think they're going to be in groups of 10. 25 of them will be ages 1 to 3, and then like 3 to 5, depending on, so the threes can be kind of a swing depending on their levels. They'll have instruction in small groups. The teachers will rotate through like groups in math and in reading. And then in the other parts, they'll be doing other things like an art project or a STEM experiment or a theater expression, those kinds of things. So that their groups of instruction will be small.
Okay, so how many teachers are in the room for those? Because it's 25 kids in one classroom, and in the small breakout.
They're not in one classroom. They're kind of broken out in groups of 10.
Oh.
So some will be with an artist, some will be with the teacher, some will be with the math person, some will be with the reading person, some will be doing other things. So it's kind of like they rotate around.
Okay, so there's going to be how many teachers at a time? Like how does that work? Like, so if a kids they go to math, it's grade 1, 2, and 3.
Everybody will get a little math, everybody will get a little reading, and they'll kind of circulate through.
Okay.
I think it's important to mention that students with like profiles. So for example, if there's students in the first grade that are all focused on still number recognition or early numeracy, addition and subtraction. Those students will be together. They'll be grouped together, and they'll have their little mini lesson, and then they may do, the project that goes along with what they're doing for math. So it's really like a workshop model. Mrs. Ellsworth, if you can understand kind of the way that rotates through, is that students kind of are targeted in their instruction. It's not a full hour of that particular subject or that particular topic. They rotate through different topics based on their need.
Okay, thank you.
The cost of this is $48,700, correct?
Correct.
But that doesn't include the transportation cost and all of that, right?
That is true. Just the cost of the program. Yep.
All right. Does anybody else have anything they want to say?
Yeah, what's the cost of transportation then?
Cost of transportation is going to roughly be $13,000 over the 6 weeks. We get a 2-hour block in the morning and a 2-hour block in the afternoon. We expect that we're going to transport. We're going to make several runs. We would transport elementary students, do the drop off, and then pick up middle school students. That's the expectation right now.
And of course, you've heard the question before, you're going to hear it again. How will you select these students? And of course, I would like to see the students selected from the charts that we saw from the yellow and red area, but not from the green area, because obviously the green area are achieving already. So how are you going to select them?
So,
Okay, go ahead.
yeah, so I mean, I can just tell you, and so we shared that the selection criteria in the memo. And so it is clear that our principals have identified those students that have indicated based on either performance within class, on the assessments, or they have some additional needs. So we've identified those students. The first thing that we did was we reached out to those parents via email. We're following up by backpacking home. And then finally, individuals will be making personal telephone calls. If need be, we will actually also ask individuals to go and knock on doors to make sure that the parents, the identified parents, have seen the information, know that it's free, and know that it could be helpful for their child.
Okay, I'm going to give a pointed question then. Are there going to be any students that are selected out of the green sections on the chart?
Are there going to be? So,
you're good.
So I think, let me just say this. Right now, we've identified 300 students. All 300 of those students have been identified for a particular reason. Whether or not any of those students may happen to be in the green is not relevant. What's relevant is that they've been identified because their total profile indicates that they would benefit from additional support. So let's not lock into only yellow, only red. We certainly have identified students that have that type of academic profile, but there are other needs that we've identified for students as well. Special education, ELL students as well.
Then you know that I'm going to vote against this. All right, so I just want to let that be known right up front. And there's several people.
Let me just say this. I didn't expect anything different.
Well, I know, because you've already been told by certain individuals as to how
Absolutely.
I'm going.
Absolutely.
And that's the way it is, and that's the way it's going to be.
Well, that's your choice, sir.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Carly.
I've prepared a brief statement only because this is important to me and I want to make sure that I can say all of the things that I want to say. My statements are toward advocating for funding this program. In a year where our families, communities, and educators have arguably had the most stressful 15+ months of their lives, summer school should not be adding to it. As presented during our last school committee meeting, despite the weight of full distance learning, hybrid learning, multiple and frequent quarantine situations, fear of even leaving our homes, and the potential death or illness of family, our teachers taught and our students learned. Despite all of this, we are all tired, burnt out, and in need of replenishment. We need our cups filled back up. This program, Full Steam Ahead at the elementary level, offers research-based balance and play. Are we honestly saying we don't want our younger students to have fun? The ones we're trying to encourage to be lifelong learners? Let me repeat, we do not want our kids to have fun in our schools this summer. If we vote against funding the full STEAM or even the middle or high school programs, in addition, we're making an out of touch, punitive, and short-sighted decision instead of a less pressured, engaged, and I'll say it again, fun few weeks of well-crafted STEM at the elementary level. It's research-supported curriculum that also does the heavy lift of attending to the SEL needs of our kids, especially the ones who may not have stepped foot in our buildings in over a year and a half. We must meet these kids where they're at. We must remember that summer school is still a choice and not a mandate, and we want the enrollment to justify the expense. We need to demonstrate that we get it at this point in space and time, and this is what is the compassionate and reasonable choice. Thanks.
You're welcome. I'm going to speak here. I see you, Sarah. I will, actually, I'll let you speak before I speak. Go ahead, Sarah.
Thanks. I 100% agree with Mrs. Reach's points. I also wanted to stress that the children that we're discussing right now are 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10-year-olds. That's how old they are. And I also wanted to point out that children who may on paper be in the green zone, but who may be in special education programs or who may be English language learners deserve just as much opportunity to do the catch-up work as anybody else. And to me, it is short-sighted and wrong-headed to vote against a program because those children who are 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 years old, because those children are included. Thank you.
Tara?
Thanks. So I don't agree with Carly and Sarah. I have plenty of experience with summer work and kids. I spent the last 6 summers actually making summer fun for kids and actually tutoring them as well. It's one of the programs that we've offered at our camp going back at least 5 or 6 years. So yes, you can make summer learning fun and you can be productive with it. The issue that I have with this is I went to a lot of graduation parties this weekend and I spoke to many parents and I spoke to actually a couple of staff members at the elementary level. And they, were surprised at this program. They did not feel that they had any input in this program, in this choice. And many of them did not feel that this is in the best interest of the students for the money that we're spending. So that made me question, are we getting the most bang for our buck? The ESSER monies, the intent is to close the gap. I agree with everyone here that the children are important and that we need to close the gap. One of my sisters is running the Martin Middle School summer program. She's running the summer recovery program in Martin. I've talked to her at length about this. I have done my homework and I don't think for 100 students, or it's, 50 students for 1 week. 50 students for 1 week for 2 hours of academics is going to cover the gap that the ESSER funds are supposed to cover. I do believe that there are other ways to do it that can be fun. I agree with Carly completely and Sarah, but I do not feel that this is the best bang for our buck. And I think we need to get out of the habit of doing that. We need to start spending money more responsibly. Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Who is that?
Diane.
Oh, I'm sorry, Diane. Yeah.
That's okay. If I could just make a comment, one thing that we have not mentioned, again, just to remind people, we will still have our summer tutoring going on in our Title I schools. We will still have our ESY programs going on for our special education students. And there will be tutoring for our ELL students above and beyond what they'll receive in this summer program. So that tutoring is still in place.
And I'd like to add that that's separate and apart from the discussion we're having right now about hiring core Incorporated, I believe is their name, to run a summer enrichment program, correct, Dr.?
Correct, yes, yeah.
So all of the children who have identified needs are going to be addressed this summer.
Well, the students in our Title I schools will have access to tutoring. The other two elementary schools will not.
All right. Does anybody else have anything to say before I talk?
Yeah, Madam Chair, just a quick thing. I keep hearing this program described as 2 hours of academics, but it's more than that, because in the morning there's 2 hours of academics, and then in the afternoon it's still academics. Like the Ozbot, for example, I don't know if anyone has played with one. We have one. The Ozbot that is described as the afternoon activity is an academic activity. It's coding, it's math, so it's building on the academics of the morning. Theater is comprehension, it's reading, it's writing, it's storytelling, it's academic, it's building on the ELA block of the morning. So the entire day, to me, is clearly academic, just because it's got different names. It's, to me, looking at that is an entirely academic program. So I just wanted to clear that up. It's more than 2 hours a day.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else? You're right, Nikki, we're paying a lot of money for 1 week for children, because this is spread out over 300 students over 6 weeks. This is not 6 weeks of academic enrichment. This is 1 week of academic enrichment. And I'm not prepared, much like Mr. Cabral, to spend that kind of money. I think that our teachers, we can do this. We've done it before without help, and we can do it again. I like some of the things that Tara talked about that she does with her rec department. If we're talking about community engagement, we have that and in Warren, and we could have that in Bristol. And so for that reason, I don't think that we need to bring somebody from the outside. I think our children should have enrichment, and I think they should play. They've been locked up, they've been masked up, they've been in fear of a lot of things. And I think that the freedom of the summer is a wonderful thing. So having said that, if nobody else has anything to say, I'd like to vote on whether we use the CARE program or not. All right, hearing none, all in favor, raise your hand, please. Sarah, Aaron, Carly, and Nikki. Are those opposed? Diana, do I need to read this out for you, or can you see it? All right. Our secretary has asked me to make sure that I read who votes for what, because sometimes she can't see it. So, Dr. Bryce, the summer program with that group has failed. I think that it would be important to take a look at other options for our children for this summer.
Madam Chair, we gave you the best option that we had as a district. I do not think that you want to have this conversation with me right now, because I believe that the vote that just happened was short-sighted and damaging to students. It is unacceptable that we have denied an opportunity for 300 students to participate in a summer program. Well, it is absolutely unacceptable.
Dr. Bryce, it's also unacceptable and on my part to have somebody tell me that if I don't vote for this, my children have nothing for the entire summer. So with that, we'll leave it where it is. We're not going to use that program this summer. And we are according to the school committee, and that's how it sits. So now we need to move to Kickamuit Middle School, summer school enrichment. I don't know who wants to speak to that. If nobody does, if everybody's.
I'm not sure if Mr. Morel is on the line.
I have one question, Marge.
Yes, Tara.
I know that.
Wait, can we make a motion first and then discuss it, please?
I make a motion to accept the middle school math program.
Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Carroll. Discussion.
Marge, I have one question. So I know that my question is the contract for the core. I believe they are participating at the middle school also. Was that contract connected to the elementary?
No, it was not.
Okay.
Well, I'm wondering what, I have the KMS program in front of me. Where are you seeing that, Tara?
It was in the discussion that they had the other day.
It was listed as a possible enrichment activity. To my knowledge, they have not formalized an agreement. They were waiting to see the outcome of this vote.
Okay, thank you.
And one other question. You're going to identify the students the same way you did at the elementary level, correct? You're going to work with the teams to identify who, and will we be focusing on students who didn't necessarily come back to school or stopped coming to school virtually and bringing, and my third question is, does this have an impact on them moving to the next grade? So if they do not attend or do not participate, will they jeopardize moving to the next grade?
No, the middle school program is not being used as a credit recovery type of program. So no, that would not influence a decision.
We have a summer program coordinator we're hiring, correct, Dr. Dana?
Yes, there is funding to include someone to coordinate the program.
But we hire someone every year, do we not? To do that?
The middle school has not been, to my knowledge, has not been consistent in offering a summer program. And so it's been problematic. That's why they are requesting someone to help coordinate.
All right, anybody else have anything they want to say about the middle school curriculum? Seeing none, all in favor? All opposed? The ayes have it. It's unanimous, Mrs. Campbell. Now we'll move to the Mount Hope High School summer programming proposal. I need a motion, please.
Moved.
I need a second.
Second.
Discussion. Okay, seeing none, I have discussion. And I had it Monday night. I mean, I had it at the budget subcommittee meeting. So I'm going to have it here as well, because I want to know what EcoFi is. And I want everybody else to know, and I want everybody else to know what EverFi is as well, before you vote on this
I
program.
can give you a little background on our use, and then also I see that some of the high school administrators are on the call that can certainly add in. EverFi is a free service that we've been using for a number of years. They have, it began with the financial literacy module. We use it as part of our business program for students to get a certification in that financial literacy course. And so that is one of the offerings during the summer program. They do have other course modules as well that we use within the high school. And so that was an option for students for this summer to open up some of those courses for our high school students above and beyond the financial literacy.
But the course description that I'm reading here has absolutely nothing to do with financial literacy. I think I asked the question about the fact that it would be a great idea to have a financial literacy program at the high school for our students, since much of the public seems to feel that we should be providing financial literacy for our students, and that'd be a great way to do that if there were any students who wanted to do that. But that's not what the course says in the summer high school
But
program.
there are other courses listed, and this is in the same vein of opening up opportunities through the Rhode Island Advanced Course Network, or also you see Khan Academy listed there as another source of coursework and classes for students. So it's a vendor that does offer a menu of different courses. So I think they are still working through what those options would be. So what you're seeing in there are examples or possibilities.
Then maybe I need to I'll either do it or the principal of the high school can read the paragraph on EverFi that we received. Dr. D?
Madam Chair, I'm not sure which document you have there. However, attached
Same one that
was,
same one I had at budget.
So I'm happy to read it, Dr. D. I have it open.
okay,
EverFi is a self-paced curriculum program that allows schools to implement social emotional learning best practices. Mount Hope High School would like to request funds to support EverFi courses to ensure our students have the social emotional intelligence to return to school safely and to be successful. Mount Hope would like to access the Compassion Project to help students bridge to the next grade. The EverFi curriculum will allow the school to help students build the advocacy skills and organizational skills needed to build a positive school culture in high school. Mount Hope High School is also considering African American heroes. And then student outcomes will be measured via a survey provided through EverFi.
and Dr. Santa, if I can just add to that for a moment, we actually forwarded this past week at the request of the school committee, the curriculum guides for each of the programs. And if I can specify, because you did ask us to add in the financial literacy, and there are 3 courses available under the financial literacy, under the financial umbrella. One of them is financial literacy. The second is called modern banking. The third is called entrepreneurial expedition. And then the other 3 courses that we would like to offer, one is called Honor Code Bullying. The second is the African American history. And the third is on healthy relationships. All of the curriculum outlines are included in the document that we forwarded. And I'm happy to read through any of them that you feel the need to. And again, as Dr. Santa described, students will have the option, similar to what they do with Advanced Course Network or Edgenuity or any of the online platforms. It will be a menu of options. They can choose to do one or more of the courses and receive a portion of a high school credit upon completion, successful completion of those courses.
All of the courses, Dr. D, or just the financial ones?
All of the courses, pending on the number of hours that are required, will depend on the course credit that they would get as an elective course, or for right now, we're looking at just as elective courses.
All right. Well, I'm not going to vote for it because I don't think that honor code bullying has anything to do with financial literacy. And I think that they should have been separated out.
Actually, they are, Madam Chair, separated out. One is under social emotional self-paced courses, and the other one is under money moves, modern banking, and identity protection.
But here's my problem, Dr. D. I didn't get that. All I got was EverFi, and EverFi simply talks about social emotional. It doesn't talk about academic supports. So if I saw there was another section about financial literacy and modern banking, I probably wouldn't have asked the question. And this is the second time I've asked the question. This is the first time I've gotten that answer. Tara, you had your hand up.
So Dr. D, if I am reading this correctly or listening correctly, we have two. We have credit recovery, and then we have enrichment that we are using the ESSER funds for. Is that correct? Yes. And,
Yes.
all right. But so we are still going to be offering all of our math courses, all of our English courses, phys ed courses that the students who failed will be able to
Absolutely.
and move on to the next grade level.
Absolutely.
So, and that's the 450 kids that you're predicting, correct?
That is correct. And then the other program is also the Bridge program, which is the transition program from into 9th grade from 8th grade. And that was also part of the proposal, in addition to the other enrichment programs. My apologies, that's my dog in the background, where we had the college and career boot camp, the Khan Academy, which is the Get Ready math courses, and ELA courses, which help students to close some of those gaps that they and strengthen up those foundational skills that they will need to enter the next course. So for example, a student that may have been in Algebra 2 and going into pre-calculus that may need some refreshers or filling in of some gaps in preparation for pre-calculus, they would have the option to do to take the Get Ready math courses. There's also the drone certification course. Then there is the several EverFi courses, the Community Action Program, and then there's also the Leadership Summit, the Student Athlete Advisory Committee.
So the bridge, which is for eighth graders going into 9th grade, who are identifying them as, they need some boosting to get into the high school for not credit recovery, but they lacked in some of the skills that we need them to have. So we have 75 8th graders that will be in the bridge program. Is that correct?
Up to 75. We invite all 9th graders, and then we target the students that may need it the most.
And then we have 20 students that will be participating in the career and preparatory program, which is college prep. I'm not college, college and career readiness, I'm assuming. Which is that where the financial EverFi programs are coming in?
No, that would be a separate opportunity for students in the College and Career Boot Camp. And Dr. Lyons, feel free to chime in. In the College and Career Boot Camp, students will do some college and career exploration, as well as work on college essays, and be able to put together a resume and do a lot of that work moving forward. And so that will be a separate course that is offered above and beyond. So the EverFi, the Khan Academy, those are self-paced courses or modules that students can opt to enroll in, and they would just need a facilitator that would help monitor their progress, answer any of their questions, that type of a thing.
So, and I being repetitive, but so those courses fall under the bridge program. So the bridge program is not necessarily for 8th graders going into 9th grade that have struggled. This is for everyone.
So correction, the bridge program is specifically for 8th grade transitioning into 9th grade. The online modules are for everyone. So it is not, the way we've worked it at the high school is it's not one specific, it's not one overall program that is all encompassing. We have tried to focus on things that students may need in preparation for the next grade. Also a big focus on transitions into 9th grade, credit recovery, and then some of those enrichment courses.
Dr. Lyons, I know you had your hand up, and I'd like you to be able to speak before the rest of the school committee members speak, if you'd like to.
Oh, well, thanks, Madam Chair. Hi, everybody. How's everything? I hope everyone's well. So I did just want to speak to one item, and I think Dr. D did it justice, but so Marge, it's really to your point about EverFi. we did originally have EverFi with just focusing on the social emotional piece. And then it was recommended that we include financial literacy, which was a brilliant idea. Sorry, I didn't have that idea. And so we did add in another description of financial literacy. And with EverFi, they offer a multitude of courses. And so we already use one of the courses for one of our business classes. And so what we thought is we would offer we chose 3 of the EverFi courses that fall under like money management, entrepreneurship, and personal finance. So we did add that. So if there should be 2 separate descriptions, just to clarify for you. Thank you.
No, that's what I asked for the last time I spoke about this, was what about financial literacy? And so I'm glad that you've added the financial literacy program, and I think it's important. I'm not comfortable with the other part of it. Vic, Sheila, you had your hand up.
Oh yeah, Tara actually had helped me clarify. I was just confused. I thought, so the credit, this money in my mind was used to bridge the learning gap and to help the students that fell behind and to get them up to where they need to be. I just want to make sure, like across the board, not just in the high school, but in the other schools, that we use it for that. Because this is like a one-time thing. This is an amazing opportunity that we can really help our kids that have dropped down below level and really pull them back up. My concern is, like with the drone certification and some of these other, that isn't like, could we do that after school versus summer school and spend some of this money on other kids that we could probably find a need? Maybe instead of having the bridge, only 75 students from the 8th grade can enroll in, have more that fell behind, just to get them back up. I just want to make sure that this isn't like a, free money. This is money that really is for a purpose. And I just want to make sure that we saw all the percentages and how our kids are doing. And I want to make sure we're all focused on getting all of those students that were in the yellow, in the red, up to green. That's our purpose. And I just want to make sure that we're not losing sight of, a lot of things are really great to have, but I want to make sure that our kids can read and write and do math. I mean, I think that's our fundamental purpose of what this district is for. So I'm just kind of concerned with seeing all the other stuff that's, great to have. And I would love to offer even more, but this money, I really feel, is the opportunity to bridge that gap with kids that have fallen below.
Thank you. Sarah, Carly, I see your hands up, but Vic was up first. Did you have something you wanted to say, Vic? No? Sarah.
You're muted, Sarah.
Thank you, Carly. Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to clarify, are any of these programs at any of the levels mandatory, or are they all optional for students?
So I can speak to the high school, Ms. Bullard. No summer programming is mandatory for students. At the high school, for example, the credit recovery, oftentimes, we will offer summer academy to students to regain credit for a course, or for a course maybe that they had failed and were eligible for credit recovery, and they opt not to take advantage of it. So nothing in the summer is mandatory for students. Everything is optional.
Okay. So my question for the rest of this committee is, how do you think we're going to get kids to come to school in the summer if there's nothing in it for them but reading and writing?
But
I'm not done.
Yeah.
Saying that we just need to focus on these scores when there are things that we can offer kids to opt into that would support their mental health, that would support their adjustment to school, that would give them something to look forward to and might encourage them to sign up for the credit recovery programs. I just do not understand the thought that we can't spend any money on anything but classes, and that reams of kids are going to come pouring into school buildings over the summer to sit and do classwork. It doesn't make any sense.
Can I respond to that?
Tara,
So, if a child is failing English,
Tara,
they have to pass English, or they can't go to the next grade.
Tara.
Sorry.
Had her hand up next, and then I will go to you. Carly.
Thank you. I wanted to point out and reiterate that when we are looking at a whole student and a family, and that's who we're trying to educate here, I wanted to reiterate first Sarah's points. We're not going to have these kiddos come into the building if there's nothing that they're looking forward to. But secondly, again, SEL learning is an integral part of being successful and achieving. If you are not getting your needs met, if you are not feeling safe, if you are not feeling seen, if you're not able to feed yourself or clothe yourself because you're depressed or you're anxious or any of the other litany of mental health concerns that not only already existed, but have exploded over COVID, not attending to social emotional learning, you're setting these kids up to not be successful. These are all connected. We can't just cherry pick certain parts of students that are more comfortable or less touchy-feely or whatever you want to call SEL. I don't think it's touchy-feely. I think it's one of the most integral and important parts of our curriculum and our responsibility as school leaders and educators. But again, I'm just going to reiterate, these are all connected. We can't just have one without the other. Where kids are not going to be successful if they're not getting their needs met.
Tara. You're muted, Tara.
Yes, I had to mute myself. Sorry. First of all, we are in a financial predicament right now. We still don't have a solid budget for August 1st. So now we have these funds that we can, and there are many kids at the high school. I know many of the kids at the high school that need credit recovery because this year they didn't go to school, they didn't attend their classes. They need to go from 9th to 10th grade, 10th to 11th grade. That's an incentive. I agree with you. Social, emotional, important, but also some of that is when you achieve things, you get that as well. And it may not be mandatory, but if they do not attend, they don't go to the next level. And they don't want to be 18 and still a sophomore or freshman. They will have to quit. Or they don't have to, they choose sometimes to do that. Our goal is to give them the tools and the skills to read and do math to move on to the next level. I agree. If we were a district that we could include enrichment at the moment, I would be all in favor of it, but we're financially not stable to do that. We could use these funds we could use these funds to bring back teachers for our classrooms in the fall to make our classrooms smaller. We could bring back additional resources. I mean, there's so many more things that these skills, that these funds could pay for to cover the gaps that we've lost. I am not against enrichment. I am not against some of the things that are being discussed, but I do not think that this is the right time to do that. Credit recovery, completely appropriate. And I do believe they do have to go. But I do think we have to be financially responsible with our money.
Yes, Erin. You're muted.
Yes, thank you. So I guess my take on all of this is that I wish we had more social emotional learning in school every day. Like for me, it's not, when I think about it, and I think everyone here is speaking from the heart and has really great intentions. But when I think about this, I kind of like, I know what Mrs. Thibodeau is saying, but I also feel like when someone, is going, is going through a trauma, it's not just always that easy as making a choice to go or not go because you want to make sure you get into 11th grade, even though of course you don't want to stay in 10th. And so for a lot of kids, while that might be an incentive, I think we have to think about the kids for whom it cannot be an incentive because of where they are right now in their minds and emotionally. And so because of that, and because I just think more social emotional learning should be intertwined in every school, every day, in every classroom. And it has been said to me and the rest of the school committee, and someone, from the administration can please correct me if I'm wrong, that while there are enrichment opportunities at some of these levels, that the target and the focus is on recovering learning loss. And so if we can take care of kids socially and emotionally, and also attract them to come in and be engaged to learn reading and writing and math, and to do it in a real world type of way, like when my father-in-law is out in the yard building something and my kids go out and inadvertently learn math and don't know they're learning, but they are. And they, that to me is the kind of stuff, the kind of learning that really draws kids in. I think that's not just what we need after COVID. I think it's what we need all of the time, every day. Thank you.
Thanks, Erin. I agree with Tara, and I agree with Erin that there are lots of different ways to learn, and that our children, we need to make sure that our children are having their needs met. But I believe our classroom teachers are very good at that, and I believe that they recognize it, and I believe that they embrace it. So perhaps I'm just not as, no, that's not true. I absolutely care about them, but I also understand what Tara is trying to say. And Nikki, I see your hand up, but Karen Cabral had her hand up first, so I'll go to her and then I'll go to you. Karen, you're muted. I mean, I can't hear you. Where'd you go?
Would you go to Nikki and come back?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Nikki?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I agree with Mrs. Thibodeau. I wish that instead we could use these ESSER funds to hire back a bunch of our teachers and keep class sizes down and increase our course options again. But as we know, we can't. We cannot use ESSER funds for teachers' salaries. So that is not an option that is on the table. We need to use ESSER funds for one-off learning opportunities, a percentage of which is learning loss. It doesn't all have to be used for learning loss. And in fact, they say that, the learning loss hasn't been what they expected it to be. It's just about learning, and it's closing that achievement gap for our students. That's what we have to use these funds for, and one-off, not for teachers' salaries. So I think it's important to clarify that using ESSER funds for teacher salaries to decrease class sizes is unfortunately not an option.
You're correct in that observation, Nikki, but I'm worried about our scores in general. We didn't fall that far behind, but we were already behind to begin with. And the more opportunities that we can give them for learning recovery, the better off we'll be. And Karen, I see you're back on, so. Is your microphone on? Are you on?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Oh, and I have to remember what I wanted to say. Actually, so about the reading and writing, clearly the kids, they need that. And as far as like anxiety and, you know, emotional things, I feel like their anxiety will just increase if they know they're not doing well, if they're not reading and they're not writing. And I feel like, you know, we do need to focus on that. And again, like all encompassing with the situation that we're in financially, I just think we really need to focus on that. And our community offers other things, you know, for the kids that are just for fun, but the kids will have fun. They're going to see each other in the summer. They're going to talk to each other. It's still going to be fun. And like I said, the community has lots of opportunities for with summer programs and whatnot that do just like focus on fun. And that's all I wanted to share.
Thank you. All right. We have a motion on the floor to accept this and a second. Do we want to vote on that? Because if we vote it down, then there's no summer school at the high school. That's my understanding. Or do we want to amend the motion to just include credit recovery?
May I ask a question?
Yeah.
If we, because the bridge program, I think is, if we're taking the 8th graders and we're bringing them in to get them ready for the high school and get them course ready for the high school, academic wise, if we don't vote for that, some of the pieces I am not in favor of, some of the pieces I am in favor of. So I'm torn. I'm not gonna lie, I'm torn. I don't know how to approach that. I think that I know all of my children, regardless of having a year of virtual learning, struggled going from 8th grade English to 9th grade English. Every single one of them. So I do think it's important, and I actually commend the high school for putting that in, because I think so I don't want, or even with the math, so I don't want to just do the Leadership Academy if it means that we are cutting that off. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And also, on the other end, the career and college component, the boot camp, I also feel is important. I think because many of these kids are struggling to identify what they want to do, and we've seen that over and over with all the discussions we've had. They struggle to know which way they want to go in high school, and adding this so that they're not wasting their time with some of the courses they take once they get into high school or they're in high school, that to me is also important. So I'm struggling with the fact that some of it I like, some of it I can't stand behind. Not that that helps anyone, but I am definitely for the Leadership Academy, and I am for components of the Bridge program, and I am for components of the college and career program, but I'm just not for the whole package.
Vic, hang on one second. I think Sarah Bullard, though, expressed it pretty well. You don't have to take the courses. The courses can be there, and nobody needs to subscribe to them if they choose not to, if that helps at all in your decision-making process, because if nobody takes it, then it doesn't run. And I think that that's something that we should be reminded of.
Are there going to be minimums for these classes?
I don't know, because they're online. Dr. Lyons?
Hi, Tara. That's a great question. So I'm not really sure if we've actually talked about minimums. I know the only minimum we talked about on the program was the community action project, because that will require a minimum number of students to get the work that's involved completed. But we have not talked about minimums, but let me also refer to Deb. Deb?
Yes, so in terms of the online programs, there's really only one facilitator to facilitate the online programs. So I would imagine that, you know, we would want a minimum typically of how we would run a course. We would want a minimum of 15 to 20 students that enrolled in you know, one or more of the courses before we were actually going to be able to run it. And that would be similar to, I believe, the Khan Academy. The programs themselves are for free. The only cost for the programs are a facilitator or a teacher that would facilitate the students working through those programs and those modules.
Thank you, Deb.
Thank you.
I saw you, Sheila, but Vic was ahead of you.
Yeah, I just like to, Tara, the way this is proposed right now, would you vote against it just because there are certain portions that you don't like?
I would make an amendment.
That was going to be my next question, Marge.
I would make an amendment because I again, credit recovery is extremely important to many of the kids.
Right.
And they need it. That's not something that we can afford not to have. We did it one summer and it destroyed a lot of kids next year. I remember the year that one of my kids was actually involved with it and could not take summer school because we actually did not offer it. And it wrecked a lot of kids next year, their classwork, their coursework. So it would never be in favor of that.
So Marge, my question is, could we pull pieces out of it? I don't want to see this thing voted down. Okay, that's my opinion on it. But there are certain portions of it that I would vote down for it. And I'm just asking, could we at least have, have amendments to eliminate certain sections, because Tara has a problem with it. I'm sure other people have problems with it, but they don't have a problem with the whole thing. They just have a problem with pieces of it. That's my question.
Yeah, I hear you, Vic. And Aaron, I see you. Sheila, I have to go to Sheila before you. I'm just worried about us sitting here cherry picking a high school program when Sarah makes the good point that you don't need to take it. So you don't, if it's not subscribed, it doesn't happen. My bigger concern was making the community aware of it. So it really is, let me go to the other people who had their hands raised. Think about it a minute, about what kind of a motion that you could make that would cherry pick options. I'm just not sure about how to do that. So think about it for a sec while I go to Sheila and Aaron. Sheila.
So I just had a question. So the credit recovery, Dr. D, you had said that the students are not required to take that to make up, right?
That's correct.
Are there students right now that could go on to like 10th grade, but they need, like, are students being held back that need this summer recovery?
So the way it works at the high school is we don't hold students back. It's based on credits. So you need 23 credits in order to graduate. And then within those credits, there are specific graduation requirements. For example, you need 4 years of English, 4 years of math, 3 years of social studies.
Deb, do you want me to address that?
Okay, I think I'm good. And then once that is, so for example, if a student fails 9th grade English and they don't go to summer academy for credit recovery, they would be placed back in 9th grade English when they were in 10th grade. but then somewhere along the way, they've got to recap that extra credit in order to graduate on time with their class.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So.
Erin?
And
So I just wanted to say a couple of things. The first one is probably going to be unpopular with my fellow school committee members, and I apologize, but I just have to say it. I think I learned way back in School Committee 101 that we're not supposed to really address each other in the way that one member just addressed another. And I think one of the reasons for that is probably because you're trying to figure out how someone's going to vote. I just think it's inappropriate. And I needed to say that publicly and to you, Madam Chair, because I really don't think we should be playing that game here. For another, since you asked, I would like to vote as it appears on the agenda. Thank you.
I hear what you have to say, Erin, and we'll just have to agree to disagree on that because that was not my intention. And it's as simple as that. So unless I have an amendment, then we will vote on it as it's written and as the first motion, as the original motion was made. So if I don't see an amendment, then I would ask you to say all in favor of the summer school program, raise your hand. All opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. Thank you very much. I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Wait a minute. Wait. I gotta tell Diana, did you get that? I believe it was Sarah.
I got Sarah Bullard, and I didn't get the second.
Nikki Piper.
Thank you.
All right. Good night, everybody. Thank you.